Well, for this edition of Inside OSU, we're in a very special place. This is the Mixed Reality Lab, which is in the new wing of the Human Sciences College. This lab combines real-life tangible objects such as clothing and labeling on food products with cutting-edge technology. The goal is to make products that are more user-friendly and more appealing to consumers. To help set the stage for what we're going to see, we are joined by Tilanka Chandrasekhara. Well, Tilanka, welcome to Inside OSU.
Good to be here.
Is this really the future of design and the whole area of practical use of technology in various applications?
Definitely, technologies like virtual and augmented reality are the future of design. For designers like us, it's easy for us to provide our clients and customers about what they need and want. More than the future, really, I think it's also the present. Just because even now companies are providing students with opportunities to be employed using these kind of technologies, and our students are being recruited by these companies that are using these technologies in their design workflow.
So it's very important to the student's future career to have this kind of education.
I think so, yes.
What are some of the everyday products that this kind of technology will affect?
Everyone wants something unique, even when they buy some clothes, even when they design a space, when they design a house, they want something very unique. Technologies like virtual and augmented reality helps us as designers to provide something unique to the clients even before they purchase something.
How would this technology impact my purchase of a sport coat?
So, for example, we can use augmented reality to show you what this sport coat would look on you even before you make that purchase. So you would know how it would fit you, how it would look on you. So
that would make online even easier. It's
exactly.
Not like going in the store and trying it on. You can actually try it on virtually.
Exactly.
So Tilanka, would this virtual reality experiment actually contribute to a less cost for the customer?
Definitely, because customers that then can try something out even before we manufacture it. So it would reduce the cost of manufacturing. If they didn't like it, we can change it virtually or using augmented reality before we actually manufacture it. So it would reduce the cost.
So let's look at some real life examples of what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm here with Aditya Jayadas, Dr. Jayadas, and also Marjan Dirafshi. And you all are working with this to develop the police belt of the future, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, great. Tell us about it.
Okay, so I'm an ergonomist, and we use one of the tools we use is the motion capture system. So you essentially place reflective markers on individuals' bodies, and you can calculate joint angles through which you can look at the posture that any individual is doing any task. So with the police officers, one of the big challenges is after they give a ticket to somebody, they go back into their vehicle, and as you see on the screen, that's what they're doing. They go here and they have to type out a report, and sometimes they are in that posture for 15 to 20 minutes. Prolonged sitting is already a problem. You combine that with awkward posture, add to that the weight of the duty belt, it's a big problem. That's why the incidence of low back pain is pretty high in police officers.
Yeah, because you've got one of those over here. And
yes.
When that's full of all the stuff.
Yes.
It weighs what,
22 pounds.
Wow.
And if you're the officer who's the sniper, plays the sniper role, they've got a plate inside, and so that adds another 10, 20 pounds. Yeah. And then the vest that they wear, that feels like a corset. So that's an additional problem. Now, if I may introduce you to Marjan Dirafshi, she's a doctoral student, and her dissertation is based on this project. So I can let her tell you a little bit more
about this.
Yes, well, my PhD dissertation research focuses on designing an ergonomic duty belt that reduces the low back pain for patrol officers. My design is focused to accommodate the officers while they're seated and conducting occupational tasks. Like you saw in the image here, this officer is typing twisted. So what I do is I actually invite officers here on campus, and also Stillwater Police Department, we're working with officers. They come here and we place these markers on them, and they conduct their occupational tasks, regular tasks like they do in the vehicle inside the lab. So we simulate that motion, and this is what it looks like. So here's an officer coming down and sitting on a vehicle seat and then twisting and typing on the laptop in the car. So it gives me an opportunity to look at their range of motion and to see how an ergonomic, how a reduced, comfortable, lightweight duty belt affects their mobility while they're typing. Because my aim is to make them more comfortable and increase their range of motion. And another thing I do is I also, because they're experiencing a lot of low back pain and musculoskeletal issues, I place these EMG markers on their muscles and look at their muscle activity. Again, I look at how the muscle activity changes while they're conducting regular occupational tasks. And this is what the result looks like. So this is activity of the muscles of the back that generates millivolts energy. And this tells me whether my design really helps and affects their general musculoskeletal health.
Does it?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'll get the results soon.
Well, great. Well, that's fascinating. That's a very practical solution for a very difficult problem. Well, now I'm with Brittany Burnham and Andre Ferreira, and you're sophomores here in design, correct? In the College of Human Sciences. And what are we looking at here? What do you work on these days?
This project that we worked on was a dorm room, so we got to design the inside of the University of North Commons dorm rooms.
Oh, really?
So we got to really use VR, which is virtual reality, to use empathetic design. So we got to really immerse ourselves into our design and pretty much be the user. So we got to go into it and see if the student could study well there, or...
This is before it was done. It's all virtual. But you're able to actually experience what it's like in that room, right?
Absolutely. You just have to put the goggles on and you can be inside of the dorm.
So that's these right here.
Exactly. Yeah, you can look up, you can look down.
Oh, there's a person up there.
Exactly. It's one of your students.
So that's 2 beds up there?
You can go up on the stairs on the wall.
Yeah, they're right over here. There's a TV. What is that back there?
That's, I believe, is a sitting space.
This really is astounding. I mean, it is incredible. I mean, you're in the room.
And the interesting fact about this, that if there's anything that we don't like about this design, we can just change. So it's materials or any type of measurements that we believe it's wrong, we can just change.
So this is how you're gonna, if you work in this world, this is what you do, right? I mean, you need to learn these skills
Absolutely.
to be very adept interior designer. Well, great.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you
very
so much.
fascinating.
Thank you.
Well, I'm here with Lizzie Johnson, who is a freshman here at Oklahoma State, and we always talk about the undergraduate research that we introduce students to very early. You're a freshman from where?
Plano, Texas.
Plano, Texas, and what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in design, housing, and merchandising, option apparel design and production.
Oh my gosh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Well, what you're doing research on now is very interesting. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so I'm researching high heel height and different types of high heels across different girls' body types. So we're looking at like the heels and how it affects their gait parameters, and seeing if there's any correlations at all between them.
So is the goal here to get shoes that are both functional and comfortable?
Basically, yes.
And look great.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I see all these heel marks and toe marks here.
Yeah, we painted the bottom of the shoe and had the girls walk across, and we timed them walking, and so we can go back and calculate their walking velocity and also go back and measure their distances that they walk.
So have you done enough research now to know what type of heel is good for what type of body?
We're still working on that part.
Well, that's fantastic, and that's another example of the undergraduate research that we have here at Oklahoma State. I'm here with Quinn Vandenberg, who is a doctoral student here, and with Greg Clare, who is a professor here in the human sciences area. So what are we doing in here? What
Yeah,
are
so
you working on?
we're here in the eye tracking lab. I'm going to guide you through a little bit of research right now. I'm personally working on research with Dr. Claire on emotional impact on luxury automobile designs. And we're using eye tracking software to be able to see what our participants are actually looking at when they're looking at designs, going through the 3 big motivational factors that influence emotion, like security, autonomy, and
Have you ever done that with
excitement.
people?
Yes, yes.
I mean, what people look at?
What people look at with people? Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Actually, the front of the car, the face, is very comparable to the face of a person. So we have been looking a lot
Yeah,
into that.
my daughter used to always say that car smiles.
Yeah.
And that car's frowning.
Yeah, exactly. It does. There's a lot of emotional attachment and a lot of emotional appeal right away when you look at a car. So we're really trying to understand that as the future of car design evolves into the future.
And I guess you've done a good deal of work in this area, Greg.
I have. My interests are a little bit different than Quinn's. I'm focused on human health, so designing labels to increase consumer attention to maybe a nutrition message to reduce obesity in the state of Oklahoma, or things like ways to create better menu designs to highlight a health communication on a menu. This is heart healthy, or this is low fat, et cetera. And in fact, we're offering a course in human sciences in our hotel and restaurant administration department for menu design, where undergraduate students get to think about how a menu is designed and optimally design it by co-creating it with customers.
Huh. Fascinating. Well, let's go back to the eye movements for the cars.
Yeah, sure.
And you've got some software here that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so this is the actual software. I've already had several participants go through the exercise. This is a heat map of sorts. So the red indicates where fixations occur, so where the eye, the pupil has been dilated and where they've actually been focusing a lot on. And here you can see exactly where we've identified areas of interest, right? So where we are interested in actually pulling statistics on where the eye movement went. So we have the grill, the full front, the logo. The logo is really a place where their eyes go to right away, and the grill as well, as you were saying with emotions. That's a lot of the times where people will actually see the emotion of
So
the
they
car.
don't look at the side very much, huh?
Well, yeah, it's interesting to see where they actually do look at it. And you're right, yeah, they didn't. And this is interesting because this is a brand new concept car for an autonomous car that was launched in Austin just a few weeks ago. So it is very new, and it seems as though the participants were trying to figure out what was going on in the windshield. And you can actually see in the next...
But just so our viewers know, so you sit in front of this, and this device tracks your eye movement.
Right, exactly. So you sit here, you type in your name as a participant, and then it'll calibrate your eyes. So it'll actually have you watch a circle go back and forth across the screen, calibrates your eye, make sure that you're actually focused on it, and then you can go ahead and then you can go through the entire experiment. So
Great, but over here then you've...
Yeah, so over here is just kind of an example of being able to see what statistics you can actually pull from
So that's just
the
a bar graph
software.
that you glean from this.
Right, exactly. So you can see here that, as you saw in the heat map here, that the windshield was by far where the fixed duration. So the mean fixation duration means that's where their eyes were fixated, so where their pupils were dilated. So that was definitely more so on the windshield. And then after the windshield, the side panel. And so we're actually going to be doing this on several different models. We did this with the Range Rover, right, which is an SUV, very different from the first model car. And here, with the grille being intricately designed, they focused mostly on the full frontal area. So they read the Range Rover text as opposed to a logo and looked at the grille. And really what we want to do with all this is make sure that the cars are being designed with the humans in mind. So it's really all about co-creating with the customer to make sure, you know, product failure doesn't occur with new models, but also making sure that car manufacturers are designing for the humans with them in mind.
And you really want to do this in industry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I, before Oklahoma State and even continuing on, I've been working consulting in the car industry. So I've been seeing the evolution of it in their designs, specifically in the luxury automobile market. And so, yeah, I do want to use my research here. I'm really grateful for this facility to be able to do that and actually find empirical, practical evidence to be able to apply it into industry in the future after my
Fantastic.
doctoral, yeah.
And do you have similar software that helps you, or do you use the same software?
I use the same software. We can study many different things, such as video, so how people in a public service message would pay attention to different aspects of the video, such as text in it, etc. So anything in web design, so optimally where do I put information on an e-commerce site to get consumers to look at that information. So really, we have a broad range of 2D or computer moderated communication that we can measure in this lab. So we like partnerships with industry, and we're working on forming more of those to answer problems that need to be solved in design.
Well, thanks very much. This is fascinating.
Thanks for coming
Appreciate
in.
it. You bet, you bet. Well, that's another edition of Inside OSU from the Mixed Reality Lab in the College of Human Sciences. Come by sometime, you'll be fascinated.